In operations management, process analysis is a very important topic. Why? Because only by analyzing the process you can improve it. A good operations manager is always challenged to produce more products with less resources, such as material, machine, manpower, time, etc., etc. And at the same time, meet customer demand. For example, the manager may only have one machine to produce two different products. Obviously, this means he or she has got to switch from one product to another product. What do I mean by switch between the two products? It just simply means that you produce the first product, let's call it product A, and then you produce a certain quantity, and then you stop the machine, then you switch over to produce the product B, the second product. Then you go back again to product A. So it's a cycle. So you continue to repeat this cycle until you meet the demand for the customer. So obviously, during the switching, there is an interruption to the whole process. So today in this video, we will look at a simple process with interruption and see how we can improve the capacity of such a process by playing around with the concepts of batch processing. Here is a process with interruption. A shop has two products to produce. Product A is a bolt, which is this, and product B, a simpler one, a nut, which is this. But they only have one machine, so they need to switch between the two products. So they can start with product A, and after a while they have to switch over and then start with the next product. So obviously you will have a setup time or a switchover time. So before you produce anything, you have to spend about 60 minutes of setup for product A, and after that the machine will produce one piece a minute. For product B, it takes 30 minutes to set up, but after that you can produce one piece of B, the nut, for every half a minute. And the manager has decided to produce 100 bolts followed by 100 nuts, and then the cycle is repeated. So basically, during the setup time, always remember the machine is not producing anything. It's actually an idle time for the machine, and these machines are expensive machines. The situation looks like this. First, the manager sets up for product A, which is the bolt. It takes 60 minutes, and then he goes on to produce 100 bolts, which takes 100 minutes, and then he sets up the machine for producing product B, which is the nut, and then he produces 100 product B. So since the product B is a nut which takes only half a minute, you can produce it in 50 minutes. So if you look at it, one production cycle actually is 240 minutes. So out of that 240 minutes, the machine is running only for this 100 plus 50, 150 minutes. So the rest of the 90 minutes, this 30 plus this 60, the machine is under setup. So the total setup time is 90 minutes. As I said, setup is an idle time as far as the resource is concerned. If we want to understand our process and improve our process here in this example, the first thing we need to know is what is the capacity of this process. The manager has decided to produce a batch of 100 bolts and nuts in one cycle, and that cycle takes about 240 minutes, 90 minutes of setup time and 150 minutes of processing time. So basically we can produce 0.4166 sets per minute. If you take the 100 over the 240, that's what you get. In other words, 25 sets per hour. And by the way, this formula works for any process. So now how do we increase this capacity of 25 sets per hour without additional investments in the operation? I set up a simple spreadsheet with the 3 parameters that controls the capacity of our process with an interruption. So we know the manager has in mind a capacity, a batch size of 100, and we know the setup time is 90 minutes, and we know the total processing time is 1.5. So this gives us a capacity of 25 sets per hour. Now the marketing department says we need 45 per hour. So okay, fine. So what can we do? The first thing is to look at the existing process and see how you can increase the capacity to meet the demand. Okay, to start with, why don't we reduce the setup time to, instead of 90 minutes, let's reduce it to 60 minutes by making improvements on the setup process. So I slide it a little bit less here to 60. So as I do it, you can see the capacity is increasing. Well, from 25 it's gone up to 28. It's not the greatest improvement, but improving setup time from 90 to 60 needs a lot of work and effort. It's not that easy, right? Okay, how about we increase the batch size from 100? Why not we go to 200? Okay, or slightly better. We are coming to 30, 33. Okay, let's go to 300. Pretty good. 35. But we are still not there. The demand is 45. Marketing wants 45 per hour. Okay, let's go 400. Still not ready. Let's go 500. No. Let's go 600. I still can't do it, right? You can see the incremental increase in capacity is getting less and less and less. So what do we do? How about go and take a look at the processing time? Can we reduce the processing time somehow by improvements on the machine speed and the feed and the program itself to, let's say, 1 minute instead of 1.5. Wow, that's a lot of improvement. That's a dramatic improvement. So it goes to 54.5. We don't need so many. So what is the right thing to do? Reduce the batch size. You don't need so many. You only need to produce about 45 an hour. Okay, I think batch size 200 would do. So this is the way that you analyze. Look at the demand. See how you can improve the existing process and how we can meet the demand. Okay, let's conclude by looking at the ways of improving capacity in a process with interruption. The first thing you can do is to improve the setup time. If you improve the setup time to as low as possible, your capacity will go up for sure. How do you do that? By analyzing the setup activities in great details. use automation, SMART principles, pre-planning, and use quick changeover techniques. Improve the actual process time itself. Instead of taking 1 minute to produce the bolt, can you do something to speed up the machine and do it in half a minute? Or maybe 0.6 minutes. Of course, you can also increase the batch size. But remember, you can increase the batch size here, but if your next process, for example, the next one may be an assembly process where somebody is sitting there to put the bolts and nuts together into one set. Increasing batch size in this area of manufacturing the bolt and nut with a higher batch size is going to increase the inventory of this process. So unless your next process is able to absorb it, able to use it quickly without building up inventory, it's okay, because excess inventory is money doing nothing. So look at the whole process before increasing the batch size. So that concludes our video today. Thank you and have a good day.